Hello, everyone. Good evening. We hope you all are doing well and staying cool out there. It's a really hot one this summer. On tonight's episode, I'm going to give an update of a recent trip that my family took to Cedar Point, talk about some neat stories involved with that. Mr. Ninja's going to talk a little bit about electric vehicles and Stellantis, and we're going to try something new tonight. We're going to do a pick of the month. We're focusing on albums. Sit back, relax, kind of pull one, and draw some colors.
Hey there, what's happening? What's shaking?
Not too much. How you doing, my friend? Good to be back.
Yeah, welcome to the garage, where we sit around, have drinks, and just BS, have some fun.
Agreed.
So what's going on? How's everything been?
Not too bad, not too bad. Things have been pretty busy. It's been a very active summer. Was able to take advantage of another family trip since the last time we spoke to everyone. I'll talk a little bit about that tonight. And yeah, just trying to stay cool. Otherwise, we got a little bit of rain today, thank goodness. That helps the lawn. I might be able to actually mow the weeds tomorrow. So yeah, doing okay. How about yourself?
Well, it's just if I had show you a picture of my backyard, my older son is just like, I'm just at a loss for what the word is, but all I can say is it's a total mess, but whenever it gets done, it's going to be like the chef's kiss. You know,
Very nice.
It's going to be like Michelangelo touched it.
There you go. Nothing like a good old summer house project to work on.
Well, it's like a domino effect, you know. Started with, replacing 2 concrete pads, moved on to a wall, moved on to a fence, replacing, or redoing a wall, modifying it, adding on a deck and doing some other stairs.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. You are definitely in deep there.
Like I said, it's like dominoes, but he does good work. When the job is finished, I give him A++, whether it's woodworking or at this point, the side of my house that he finished up on, holy cow, where it was and to where it is now, night and day. But
Excellent.
It still needs improvement on the cleanup part and the implementation part. The implementation part's good. The cleanup part's no, that's down, like, it's just passing, a passing grade.
Always room for improvement on that end, I guess.
Yeah, like I always say, I started out somewhere and he levels it up. It's like, time, to the third power, type of thing. Like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Anyways, so you went to an amusement park again? Another one?
Jeez. Yeah. It's been a good year for us in that department. So we did our family trip to Cedar Point, and we usually do this once a year. We pick out a weekend. My wife and I go. My in-laws go. And my brother-in-law and his wife go. So it's usually the 6 of us and 4 dogs. Ooh. So yeah. So we were able to do that at the end of June this year. And we always go for 2 days. We do like the B&B option up there and go in the park for 1 day, and then usually Ash and I will do a fast lane ticket for whatever the better weather day is going to be, so that we can ride the heck out of everything, and then hopefully get all that accomplished in 1 day. And then the second day is just like icing on top of the cake, or the cherry on top of the cake, on top of the icing on top of the cake.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime you're in an amusement park, to me, it's always fun. I
Yes.
I got to go to Kennywood twice so far this year,
Excellent.
uh, and where I work is pretty close to it, so it's it's kind of fun. You make a little alternate route and go past there, and there we go. Bob's your uncle.
Excellent. Yes. How many rides have you gotten in so far?
Well, I got at least all the coasters. Well,
Okay.
I got all the coasters at least once. The uh, Skyrocket, whenever I went, it was kind of a bubbly night, so it was like hardly anyone there. So you literally could walk onto it, ride it, and then turn around. And so long as no one was in the line where your seat was, you could ride it again. I had to get out and move to another one, but I jumped back on for a second time in a row. So
That when that happens, that is like the greatest problem ever.
this is true. This is true. They had that happen. We had that whenever we went down to Animal Kingdom down in Disney the one year, the whole family and everyone. Um, we rode the water ride down there, and we came back, and the guy was like, "Do you want to go again?" And we're like, "Sure."
Yeah.
When the kids were little, it's like they just sent us on the way. But
That's
anyway,
awesome when that happens so much. Yeah.
but do tell about Cedar Point.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Carelessly through you.
it was absolutely great. Another phenomenal trip. The better weather day for us was the first day. I think that was Friday, a Friday. So, and honestly, the lines weren't terrible for a Friday at the end of June. But the fast lane did save us a significant amount of time on the very, very big rides there. So, best part was everything was running that day. So it wasn't one of those, oh no, half the park is down kind of scenarios, which has happened before in the past. Everything I'm speaking, everything minus the disaster that the former Top Thrill dragster, now called Top Thrill 2, was and continues to be. More on that later. So yes, every other major coaster and minor coaster was up and running, and we got them all in and got them in multiple times. For some of them, the first day, I think the first day I got about 20 total rides in across, I think it was 12 roller coasters. So, yeah, definitely got some good riding in, some good food, because we always try and get the only reasonably priced thing at Cedar Point is an all-you-can-eat food pass.
Okay.
So there are about, I don't know, 6 to 8 places that are scattered throughout the parks that allow you to participate in this all-you-can-eat food pass thing, and you get to eat every 90 minutes essentially. So we try to make sure that we get our money's worth and eat it about 4 times, hopefully throughout the day, because we stayed to the end each day. So yeah, it was good. That was good. The weather was warm, but not this crazy hot spell that we are experiencing right now, or in the midst of, which finally subsiding a little bit. But yeah, all was good that first day. The second day was a bit rough. That was not a great weather day. We actually didn't go into the park until about 4 p.m. because it rained all morning and into the early afternoon.
Yeah.
And some of the rain was thunderstorm-esque. So nothing was really running.
Well,
so what we did instead was we found a local brewery in downtown Sandusky that none of us had ever been to before, the brewery, and none of us had ever been to downtown Sandusky before. So we took our early afternoon there, had a flight or two, tried some local brews, and so that gave us the liquid courage to go face the roller coasters in the evening, which we did.
I bet it wasn't fun. I know many moon ago, I was out there for, I forget what group it was out there for, and there was this thunderstorm. You know, they came along. I bet it wasn't fun, especially the way some of the ones have been around here. So
Yeah, yeah. The morning, it was really weird because they started really early in the morning and kind of woke me up Saturday morning. So it was, yeah, heavy thunder. I don't know about the lightning because I didn't see too much. I just heard the thunder for the most part. But yeah, they were pretty violent in the morning. And then as it went through it, it kind of dissipated in intensity and just became straight up rain. But yeah, it was still a great day. And I think I got in like 7 or 8 rides from 4 to 8 because they were, I mean, like or 4 to 9, something like that, because they're not doing they weren't doing their late nights quite yet in terms of time. So it's worked out pretty well. I'm really having a tough time though, man. Let me tell you, it's every year we go, I dramatically underrate certain coasters in my mind, and I never remember that until I'm on them because there's so many of them there. It's hard to.
Do you have a high point?
Like a number one?
Yeah, or not necessarily specifically only, but maybe, what are your 2 favorite out of it?
Yeah, my 2 favorite, those are not budging. So
the must ride if you ever go there type
absolutely. And it's worth the time. It's worth the wait because you will wait for both because they're still very, very, very popular and attractive. When I was younger, my favorite was Millennium Force. Tallest, fastest, most intense in terms of speed and height and length to some degree too. But I would be lying to you now if I didn't say that has been overtaken with the newly imagined and redone Steel Vengeance, which is the old Mean Streak. They converted, which at the time when the Mean Streak was built, I think it's true that it was the tallest and longest, or one of the longest wood roller coasters, probably no longer than the Beast. That's probably not true. But it was one of it held some records for a wood roller coaster. And they decided to transform it, which initially I was really mad about because I love wood roller coasters, and that one was great. Yes, it beat the hell out of you, but I didn't care.
It was a good beat the heck out of you.
Yes. But they transformed it into this ridiculously crazy, awesome, psychotic, psychopathic hybrid roller coaster that has the original wood frame still of the Mean Streak, but a steel track now. And this thing just cooks. It cooks. And there's so many inversions within itself and loop-de-doops, and there's points in time where you feel like, well, you don't know what's coming up next because the track is built within, it intertwines within the actual track itself, so you can't see half of it half the time, especially at night. And it looks like you're afraid to raise your hands because it looks like you're gonna hit stuff all the time. And it's amazing how it just bobs and weaves and intertwines and loops and does all these things inside of itself. And the majority of the ride takes place inside of itself. You have the first drop and the second drop, and then it kind of just winds all over the place. So that's definitely number one. That's the best ride in the park. That may be, as far as I'm concerned, I think I've ridden 85 total roller coasters throughout the country. As far as I'm concerned, of the 85 that I've ridden, I would put it, if not number one, in the top 3 for sure. So I love the Millennium Force. It will be always my original favorite, but I can't sit here and lie to the good people out there and say that it's still the best or still my favorite one, because it's definitely Steel Vengeance now. But those are the 2 for sure that still hold their weight, are absolute musts in my opinion. But the problem is there's another 5 or 6 that are really darn good as well. And that's where it gets problematic in ranking them for me, because I always forget how good Gatekeeper is, which is one of the very first ones you run into the park. The Raptor is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, and that thing still is an amazing ride. Amazing ride, even 30 years later.
Now, do they have the was it the corkscrew or
yes, the corkscrew is still there. Hopefully they never get rid of it because it's such a visual iconic piece.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk through the corkscrew parts, line a walkway, so you can literally walk through the walkway as people are corkscrewing past you. Love that so much.
I mean, from what I'm sure it's probably a lot worse now. From what I remember when I did go there the one time, it was like an hour and a half, 2-hour wait for a 3-minute ride. You know, but
for the corkscrew.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was some obscene amount of time that we waited. Got on and it was like, boom, done. Wait, we waited how long?
It's very quick. It's not a long coaster at all. You get 2 hills, and then I think you get the first hill, goes the second hill. Oh no, I'm sorry, I lied. First hill, loop, run around the side, and then you start the corkscrew part, and then it's essentially over. Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's a pretty quick ride.
But it's still worth it, though, I'd say.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't, because there's just so much there now. I would probably rank that in the lower third of my list, but they're all great. They're all great rides out there.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like picking between children.
I'm just gonna say something like that. Yeah, it's like who's your favorite kid?
Yeah. Oh, and another one that would certainly be in my top 5. Probably I might even put it 3. I absolutely love the Magnum XL 200 too. That ride, I contend still to this day, that ride has the best view of all time, because the first hill you go up, you see you looking out off of lake onto Lake Erie. You have the hotel on the right, the Breakers Hotel on the right, the water park on the left, and you're just looking into the abyss of that beautiful lake, especially on a nice day. It's great. Then you go down the first hill, and this ride also cooks for its age, and it's even older. I think it was built in '89, so it's like 35 years old or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part of that ride, the first 2 hills are great, but the best part of that ride is towards the back third, because there's these set of camelbacks.
Oh, okay.
That go into a tunnel, and you get ridiculous air off of those camelbacks. It's kind of like the camelbacks on the back end of Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Except maybe a little bit more intense. So that one's easily in my top. I'll go flat out. I will tell the people live on air. Number 3. I'm putting that in number 3.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah. So we get able to get that one in quite a bit too. Although I was really mad because the first day, every time we tried to ride it on the first day with the fast lane, it was broken or shut down until the last time. So we only got it in once, but at least we did get it in once that first day. But the second day, I targeted that ride specifically and made sure to ride it more than once.
You're like, this is not going to be a shutout. We're going to the wall every time.
Yes. Now, quickly on Top Thrill 2. So this is supposed to be the reimagined Top Thrill dragster, and if it ever works, it's going to be awesome. I'm not denying that. I've always been kind of on the record as being sort of a hater of the old Top Thrill dragster, because even though it's the tallest ride in the park, one of the fastest ride, or the fastest ride in the parks, and the second fastest ride in the world now, I think King Dakar is the one that has the record for height and speed now. But my problem with Top Thrill is, you want to talk about wasting your time in line for a 30-second ride. This is it. It literally does one thing. It shoots you out, you go up a hill, you come back down, that's it. So it's cool, but it's just, I've always thought it's been overrated. It's been a problematic roller coaster in Cedar Point's history through its entire history. They tried to solve that problem by not completely redesigning it, but essentially adding a back end onto it. So now that it would qualify as a double launch roller coaster.
Oh,
and it's still not working. So they closed it down in May. It still hasn't been open. It was definitely closed when we were there. It looks cool, but it's really frustrating when you go and you pay good money through a park like that, and that's supposed to be one of your signature attractions, and you can't figure it out. So
they better get the engineering and they better get the engineers going on it.
Honestly, at this point, man, I know they've invested a lot of time, money, effort, marketing dollars, etc., to rebranding it. But if this is going to continue to be a problem like this, get rid of it and put something else in.
Yeah, well, that's well, you gotta. Yeah, I agree with it whenever it comes to something like that, but you got to look at the bean counters, to see what they.
Oh, for sure.
They're like, no, you got to try. If we pump, we already have, 30 million into it. If you put another million into it to get it working again. Yes, folks, I am not crazy. There is some kind of fly or something right around here.
Get him though? Did you get him?
Maybe. I don't know. If you see me, yes, good job. Good job.
It's a shame you don't have a roller coaster in your basement, Chris, because you'd have just eaten them instead. So
yeah, there's always that. Yeah, that's always a fear whenever you don't want to. You always want to be screaming whenever you go down the hill because you don't want to be trying to gasp for air.
Right.
You'll be in trouble on that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Here's a question for you though.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips and tricks or hints when visiting Cedar Point?
So, you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think
how best to get the most out of your dollars and cents, going there.
Honestly, unfortunately, this is the case now, but it's almost essential to get one of these fast lane things now. And if you can pony up the money for what they cost, because of course they have different tiers of them, that alone saved us easily 3 hours of waiting time, because we did ride Millennium multiple times. We did ride Steel Vengeance twice. We rode Maverick twice. That's another great roller coaster that I didn't even talk about. And if you didn't have the pass for those, you are maybe lucky to get one ride each out of them, especially if you're trying to hit all the other rides as well. So it's not a tip or a trick. It's just this is best practice at this point in time, folks. That's all I can tell you. Unless you catch, an off day where there's just really no crowds there, or there's a 50% chance the weather's going to be bad and maybe people stay home. So that's kind of a tip. Try and monitor the weather.
But also too with the weather, like you said, because you're all right on the lake there almost, and if a bad storm rolls in, you're gonna. Oh, that's what the other thing I didn't mention was I was on the Gemini at the time, waiting in line, and they took everyone down underneath the Gemini. We're all standing in the like probably that much water. It's thunder and lightning right off on the lake there, and the ride operators are standing up on wooden tables. I'm like. Every time I heard a thunderclap, it was like I'm jumping out of the water in case it, maybe I'll get lucky enough and not get, electrocuted.
Yeah.
Or standing in water.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Another, I do have another tip, a couple more. Tips. Another tip is, and this is probably known to a lot of people out there that have experienced this ride, obviously, but let's say you haven't yet. Steel Vengeance requires absolutely nothing on that ride because someone got injured in the past with a cell phone or something in the crowd because it fell out. It's one of those rides that will empty your pockets.
Oh, wow.
So they require you not to have any loose materials whatsoever, including glasses, unless they have that strap thing. You have the goggles or the strap thing on it.
Yeah.
On that ride. So to save yourself a little bit of time, if you're going with a person that doesn't like roller coasters or
and you know who they are.
Yes, doesn't intend to ride,
bring them along.
Keep all your stuff with them. Because they do have these lockers. You have to go through a metal detector. So before you go through the metal detector, if you choose to keep your phone on you or your glasses on you while you're in line, they do allow you some free lockers off to the side. But again, that takes another 2 or 3 minutes after you've just waited in line for an hour, possibly, if you don't have like a fast lane pass or something like that. So tip, bring a person with you that's not riding, leave all your stuff with them. You can survive without your phone for an hour. It's not going to kill you. And another tip I have is do take advantage of Gatekeeper as much as you possibly can. Every time I've gone to Cedar Point, and this is a top half roller coaster of the offerings there. Every time I've gone there, I've never waited more than 40 minutes for that ride. Oh, now, that's the worst, okay? Most times, I would say the average wait time, every time I've gone there, has been 20 minutes or less. And this is without any fast lane or anything like that.
Huh.
So that is a tremendously quick running roller coaster, and for some reason always has shorter lines. And it's toward the beginning of the park too, which would defy common sense, because usually people enter the park, they go to the first ride they see, right?
Yeah.
So lines would be longer. That's not the case with this ride for some reason. So that's another tip I have. If you really want to boost your numbers and get your, start your day off right, I'd say go to Gatekeeper right away.
Oh, okay. So I guess everyone's thinking is head to the back where the big rides are and then work out.
And that's true because let me see, 1, 2, 3, we'll say 4. 4 of the big ones are closer to the back. So yeah, I think that's exactly what people are doing.
Okay.
So while they're building up the lines, you ride Gatekeeper, ride Gemini, ride Rougarou.
Small ones.
Yeah.
Not necessarily small, but the less interested ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And you shouldn't have problems because, like I said, those lines are always going to be shorter.
Huh. Really? Okay. Now, here's a question. Did they have a coaster that was like up towards is that Gatekeeper that's up towards the front off to the right or something like that?
That's where Gatekeeper is now. Yes. I believe they built some of it because it's a longer coaster. It stretches along the front pretty well and wraps around the front a little bit too once you get going through it. I think part of it was built either near, around, on top of the old Disaster Transport ride, which was an indoor roller coaster that's been gone for several years now. But yes, that's the one you enter the park and you veer to the right. You walk straight a little bit. You can't turn right immediately. Go straight past the initial entrance stuff and start veering to the right, and then it's off that way. Yes.
Okay. Do they still have is it the Blue Streak?
Oh yes. I'm glad you brought the Blue Streak up. They definitely have the Blue Streak still as of today. Hopefully they never get rid of it because it's the only true wood roller coaster left in the park.
Yeah.
And it's the oldest one in the park.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was pretty old.
Yes.
Now that's towards the front as well too, right?
That is also towards the front. So the 3 in the front are, if you go to the right, you hit Gatekeeper. If you go to the left, you hit Raptor, and Blue Streak is right after the Raptor. So if you just go a little bit further down off to the left, the entrance for Blue Streak is right there. So that's a great 1-2 combo to knock out quickly too in the beginning part of your day. Now the Raptor, it's very popular. So it does tend to get longer lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not impossible for them to be over an hour at certain points in time, but not always. So like a good strategy would be hit Gatekeeper like 2 or 3 times, especially if it's like a 15-minute wait or less.
Mm-hmm.
Check on Raptor. If it's no good, go to Blue Streak, hit that 1 or 2 times, check on Raptor. If it's good, get it in, then head to the back.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's definitely that sounds like you know your Cedar Point for sure.
Yeah, we've been there so many times as a family now. Like it's almost like a third home or second home or something like that. You know the map you don't even need a map anymore because you know exactly where to go.
You just walk in and okay, we're going over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you only buy just like one-time pass, right? You don't buy the season pass, do you?
Well, last year we did do the season pass because we wanted to try the Halloween event that they put on.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past we have done the season pass because my dad fortunately doesn't live very far from there. So also last year we did the family trip together, and then my wife and I went a second time on a weekend a Saturday, Sunday kind of deal. Because we did purchase the pass and we wanted to get our money's worth. So this year we did not because we had other trips planned, so we can't make it out there more than once. But yeah, we used to have that.
Yeah, you have to, like I always say with our local park here, you have to go a certain amount of times for it to pay for itself. And then if you go at least one after that, then you're in the plus factor.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And what's nice with the passes, at least at Cedar Point, I believe this is true with whatever level, because of course they got multiple levels of passes out there too. Buying stuff, that's another tip and trick. Actually, it's not a tip and trick. It's just tip and trick. It's just a nightmare because it's like buffet style everything out there. So there's 4 different ticket options and 3 different season pass options. I'm ranting now, but I believe any of the season pass options that you choose, you get free parking, which is nice.
Oh, well, yeah, especially too with our park here, the parking with Kennywood, it's $20 to park in preferred lot. And if you figure that into the cost of the ticket, I think I figured it out, it was like 2, maybe 3 times at most, and then it pays for itself,
Yeah.
So it's if you live close to a park and you're a coaster fan or just general rides or even just the atmosphere, it's definitely well worth looking into purchasing. I mean, because like I said, between the ticket and because not a lot of parks do like how Waldameer to go in there, you can, if you're a grandparent, and you're going there, your grandkids are going there for a picnic with their parents, you can walk in, you don't have to ride anything, you don't have to pay for anything. But if you want to ride, then you buy an all-day ride band that you put on around your wrist. So I think that's a great option in terms of, at least for that. These other parks, I don't know, yes, I love amusement parks. I love them to death, but also too, on the flip side, it's like, come on, man, can't you offer something for senior citizens like that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, how much would it be to put, this little paper band around your wrist? And so long as you just show them your wrist and you can get on to the ride. So.
It's just getting crazier because I didn't even bring this up, so I'll bring this up now. You would think that if you have 2 or 3 different tiers of the fast lane, let's just take the fast lane passes, for example, that those would be standard pricing based on which one you choose, correct?
Mm-hmm.
False. Huh. The price fluctuates the day you choose to use it or purchase it for whichever day you're going into the park. So it's very possible.
World.
What's that?
Sounds like Disney World.
Oh, okay. So this is a common thing then, I guess, across because we don't get fast lanes everywhere we go. Although we have been doing that more for the parks that we've not visited, just so that we make sure we get everything in. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes it's $20, $30, $40 more expensive on the weekends or special holidays or something like that than the regular list price that they show you on the website. And it's like, what are we doing here? They'll nickel and dime you for pretty much everything.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to go on a rant, but frankly, in my opinion, even though it saves us so much time and by the end, I'm happy, the amount of money it costs to do the fast lane at Cedar Point is stupid. It's stupid. And it's kind of not worth it sometimes. The only thing that's worth it, that offering wise that they have, is the all-day dining option. That every 90 minutes thing is really good. You definitely can get your money's worth out of that, and you definitely get more than your money's worth out of that.
You can bring that sponge dry.
Mm-hmm.
Or that napkin, I guess you could say.
Yes. Yeah. And you get a good portion size too for each meal that you choose to, visit whichever place you go and get. So that's really the only place that you, as the consumer, I feel like are truly getting a good value and a good deal out of. Because sweatshirts are now 50, 60, 70 bucks, pullovers. It's crazy. Yeah.
I'll take a postcard and a sticker. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
But even at that, that'll be $10 each.
Oh yeah, every bit, no doubt. No doubt.
That again, I live vicariously through you.
Oh, sorry, no, kind of make me feel a little bad, but
so that you don't have any other tips or pointers when visiting that? I mean,
no, probably not tips or pointers. But I turn to you now. Like, what strategies do you take?
Well, the first thing you want to do is Black Friday is always a good thing. Whenever you're want to go to a park, like I always buy my pass for the local park here, at Black Friday and renew it. You get a decent price on it. And, then you can pay 3 payments and you're done, or 4 payments and you're done. Yeah, there's not, with being so close to the park, at least in terms of working, I can drive by and see. The other thing too is if you're close to an amusement park, know where the parking lot is. You can gauge a lot of times by that on crowd sizes.
Yeah, right.
And I do that a lot as well too. It's if I don't see the parking lot full, stopping by. Yeah. But in terms of anything else, I'm pretty much a cheapskate. I just get I pay enough to get in the door. And also too, a lot of times with at least with ours, it if you're a season pass holder, depending on the level, you can get the souvenir cup and get free refills all day long.
That's
So
nice, yeah.
And then of course you can't go wrong with the potato patch fries.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was something that I wanted to maybe touch upon quickly as I would sell it as a tip. It's more of an opinion, but
yeah, you gotta, anytime you go to an amusement park, you gotta try their fries.
yeah,
That's like a guaranteed type thing. But back to the souvenir cup. Because my brother went the one day with me as well too, and he always has to get the ice cream, before he leaves. That's his thing. My thing is I always got to hop on the merry-go-round, and that's kind of like my, hey, we're closing this out, let's go type of thing. But I did notice that the souvenir cup was $35. Yeah, exactly. And so if you put that into the factor of the season pass, it just all works out.
Yeah.
And if you're close by an amusement park, as I said, it, even if you go twice, depending on the park, you go twice, it could pay for itself there.
Yeah, true. That's true. Because you
and
will get lucky on some of these rides, like you were saying, and you can just ride them and ride them and ride them and ride them every once in a while. Can I bring us back to the potato patch just real quickly here, because
Sure.
my tip to everyone, if you ever visit Kennywood, and again, folks, this isn't a tip. This is an opinion that I'm selling to you as a tip, because there's nothing better in the park than the potato patch. Legendary, iconic French fry stand, eatery place at Kennywood. Introduced to us by my father when we were kids. He laid down the law and said, this is what we eat when we come to Kennywood. I still hold up that tradition to this very day, and I refuse to eat anything else in that park, which is usually lunch and dinner, than the potato patch.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. and you can't forget, if you live in the area or live in nearby an amusement park that you go to all the time, look at their season passes and just wait for Black Friday, wait for sales. You can, I'm pretty good at squeezing pennies and, or nickels and turning them into pennies and then squeezing those pennies. I do my best.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you slip up, but you live and learn.
Yep. 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 And there are different sales throughout the year too, at different points in time for some of these places. I noticed. That's how we took advantage of some when we went down to Virginia for the Busch Gardens trip. We paid like, I think we found a deal at some point in time of the year that was not during a holiday, even that was 50% off or 40% off or something like that. So keep an eye on different times of the year too for some of these places.
Yeah. Slickdeals.net is a place that I like to keep an eye on for just not amusement parks. They actually, surprisingly, they have that type of stuff on there as well too. But there's all kind of other deals on there as well. You know, you can score. I can't even think of anything right now, but you know, that's kind of like my daily thing I look to. And then if you on Black Friday, oh man, you could just like refresh the page because stuff. And they actually, I may have said this before, but they actually have like I guess it's like a business where that's their job, is to go out and find deals and whatnot, post them to the website. And then there's community members that, add to the web pages and, post stuff. And yeah, it's definitely a good site to check out as well too.
Very nice. Very nice tip there.
Yeah. So do you have any, not necessarily tips for amusement park, do you have any other, like, since we're talking about slick deals and buying stuff, and I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically on amusement parks, but we're all into that going to in a park. Do you have any, music, cars, travel?
I definitely have tip. So like if we transition this to the music space a little bit, and I go to a lot of live shows, and a lot of concert venues, I have some tips. I could talk quickly about some tips that I try to use.
Yeah,
help cut costs down a little bit.
Hey, I'm all ears.
Yeah,
I'm all ears for saving $1 or $2.
Yeah, I very rarely, unless it's an absolute favorite artist of mine, if I can help it, I try not to go through the main ticketing website to purchase my concert tickets through.
Oh, really?
Again, unless I'm absolutely desperate or I'm freaking out because I'll freak out because they'll sell out and then they'll be double the price on the secondary market because they haven't toured in so long or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's only a handful of bands that I really do that for. I have shifted my concert buying to the secondary market, essentially. And I will shop around via the StubHubs of the world, or the there's a newer one to me that has been around called Game Time. And their specialization is they find you the best deals on last minute tickets. So if you really want to be risky and wait till the day of, or wait a few hours before the concert or show. And this is the case with sporting events too, just not concerts. It's just I use them for concerts mostly. That's a tip I would suggest, is shop the secondary market, wait till the week of or the day of the concert. And most likely, because if it's not a sellout, I mean, obviously, folks, this isn't going to work for Taylor Swift, but other musical artists, it should work very nicely for you. Case in point example, I was fortunate enough to go see Heart and Cheap Trick recently in May, and I did not buy the ticket through Ticketmaster. Was the primary first place point of sales place.
Yeah.
And I waited till the week of. It might have been like 2 or 3 days before the show, and I found a lower bowl, straight on view ticket, which would have normally cost well over $100, $150 probably after fees and everything, through Ticketmaster, and I got through the door with fees and everything for $50. So
nice.
I was like, okay, sign me up. I will go listen to Ann and Nancy sing and play. Sure. I love them. That has worked really, really well for quite a few artists. It doesn't always work out, though. I don't want to say I've gotten burned, but I have paid a little more than face value using this strategy sometimes because I either underestimated the popularity of the band or for some reason they were just selling at a higher price on the secondary market.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah. If you know your prices for what those concerts. Wait, that's the other thing too, is you can always go back and look at, I'm sure it's somewhere online that, like, oh, whenever the last time they toured, tickets cost this. So then you can, if you do it's a little bit of homework, but you can definitely do it.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Definitely possible.
All right, that's cool. Well, speaking of music, then here's a question for you. What would you say your favorite album or two would be?
We're doing our pick of the month section here now.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, we can, or we can come back to that because I do want to bring something up.
I was gonna say you got to talk about the EVs and Stellanis.
Oh yeah, well I listened to Buttered Insider. It's kind of a funny name for a channel, and then also too listen to OC Motivator and here, let me pull up hold on. Speak amongst yourselves, folks.
Transition programming, folks. Bear with us.
I mean, this guy is pretty good. He's a Dodge guy, and let's see, add the stage. He's a Dodge guy, and he's has a lot of good info, like Demon Vendors price hike, Demon accessories by oodles of money, and he's just really good, as well as what was it, OC? Let's see here, OC. If I could spell OC, yeah. And then this is another one I listened to, but you see what it says there? Huge government bailout, and it just whenever he was talking about that, it was just you just kind of look and go, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean the whole. Let me bring this up here. Paste and go. The whole thing with, I hate the there we go. The whole thing with this, if you like, let me say this much. If you like EVs, great, that's fine. Buy your EVs. That's what you like. That's great. But if you look at all the stats and everything like that, they're not selling. They're not selling like they thought they were going to sell. But also too, whenever you have a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 electric car, I mean, you're pricing people out of the car market. So how you expect them to go buy something like that? Like, who wants to spend $90,000 on an EV Hummer? As like, wait, what? But to be able to award 1.1 billion to Stellanis and GM for EV production to produce EVs that no one's buying because they're uber expensive. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's and they're already there's all kind of EVs out there that are sitting apparently on lots, and it's not just, oh, I found this on an article here that say if you look it up, there's a lot of people saying about like how the EVs aren't selling, and it's just funny that you can spend 1.1, they can just hand out like OC Motivator said. He goes, it's trying to save jobs and whatnot. I'm all for saving someone's job, but when you turn around and spend this kind of money to Stellanis, who, by the way, the CEO got a $39 million, bonus. And there, if you go and watch OC Motivator's uh, video episode where he talks about, you're a business guy, you would know where, you know, the stuff that was already on the books, is going out. It looks like all rosy and everything like that
Yep.
for the, the numbers that they got. But the going forward is not looking so hot, apparently, because they're cutting. You can cut only so much, and then you're not going to have anything left to cut.
Right.
And then, all that stuff that you sold, numbers look fancy and rosy and all that. It just, but then he goes and gets a $39 million bonus, I think it was. And then they go and get 1.1 billion, between the two of them to produce battery, EVs.
Yep. They're pushing.
They're trying to, as he put it, they're doubling down on it. It's like, so you're going to build cars, you're going to spend money on them to build cars that's going to sit on the lot that no one wants to buy because they're overpriced to begin with. And it's like, why? Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about waste? That's the waste right there. 1.1 billion. I mean, and the whole thing with Stellanis and Dodge, unfortunately, is they've just destroyed. Well, besides destroying Dodge, at least with GM, they have their they have the electric cars, and then they have the electric cars that they do have kind of offsets the gas powered cars. So I mean, it balances that, and they can still have their gas powered cars. Well, Dodge is late to the entry, had no electric cars, said no, I'm not buying any more credits, and it's a whole. The way I look at it, it's a whole cluster. You know what?
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to really check this guy out because I mean, he does nothing fancy, but he just finds all the info out about it, and it's like he said, huge government grant to Stellanis, hundreds of millions. This is crazy, and I mean, if you just go down and the thing with him is he tries to tell people, tries to save them all kind of money because even like with the other thing is Stellanis is screwing over the dealers, but like he put it, the dealers kind of getting a day of reckoning because the prices that they did on the demons and it's just we'll leave it at that, but
so on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a fan are you of Stellanis there? Not the PC guy.
Okay, let's see. Okay. It would be a minus in front of it.
Okay.
You can go 10, but put a minus in front of it.
Fair enough.
And they've literally.
I had a feeling that was going to be the case.
Yeah, exactly. They've just utterly destroyed Dodge, and hold on 1 second here.
Sure.
What, Carson? No. Sorry. Talk amongst yourself. Yeah. You got anything to talk about there, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, we can transition to. I mean, I can't speak to the Stellanis conversation too much because I haven't been following it as closely as you have. But we can start to transition into our newer pick of the month kind of topic here. And Chris and I were talking about what would we even talk about, and in the past, to bring the music conversation back into this because that falls within the hobbies that we all like and like to talk about. on our show here. We thought it was maybe an interesting idea to talk about some of our favorite albums, because in the past we had talked about who some of our favorite artists were. So we're trying to take it to the next step now and talk about that. So in thinking about this over the last night or two, I think I'm going to structure mine around, since we are in the dog days of summer, and boy, folks, has it felt like that where we're from here. I don't know if it's the same case for you all, but it has definitely been that way here. I'm going to sort of focus my couple picks for favorite albums around my favorite summer albums, essentially. So, and essentially I'm going to pick an album for two different bands, but there are several albums that I could choose for these two bands because they're two of my favorite bands, and they just remind me or scream summer albums to me because of their style and how they sound, the catchiness and fun vibes of the songs that they put off and stuff like that. So without further ado, because I've rambled enough, I will officially disclose my two favorite summer albums. And the first is from my third favorite band of all time, and it's the self-titled debut album from 1976, I believe. Boston's Boston album. That is essentially a greatest hits album in itself. At one point in time, I don't know if this is still the case or not, it held the record for largest selling debut album for a specific band. It took the country by storm in 1976 and 1977. I think it originally sold 17 million, 15 million copies or something like that. And has one of the all-time great album artwork pieces that you could ever imagine. There it is. Chris has kindly brought it up. And for the longest time, I didn't actually know that structure, which is certainly a spaceship theme, with on the very top there, the in the dome part of the spaceship, that is actually the city skyline of Boston. And if you look to the left of the blue flame, you'll see that this is also a guitar spaceship. The neck of the guitar is sort of stretching out from the left flame there. So it's sort of like an upside down guitar, essentially.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure that out too. I was actually listening to someone else or a podcast. Someone else mentioned that, and then I looked at it. I was like, "Holy cow! That is a great album cover because it's an upside down guitar functioning as a spaceship with the city of Boston in the upper part there." But we're talking like massive all-time great hits from this album. Of course, More Than a Feeling. Everyone probably knows that song and is either sick and tired of it or loves it to death like I do. Peace of Mind, Foreplay Long Time. And you have very underrated tracks like Something About You, which is probably one of the most underrated Boston songs ever. And Let Me Take You Home Tonight. You know, like another great one there. So that's my first pick. And then my second pick is that little old band out of Texas. And I think I'm going to have to go with, as a kid, I would have picked a different album. I would have picked the Eliminator album from ZZ Top. So the band is ZZ Top. But I think I'm going to go with Tres Hombres, actually, for this pick. I have come to learn over the years that there are two different sort of styles of ZZ Top. There's the early 70s through mid to late 70s ZZ Top, and then there's the 80s version of ZZ Top. And the 80s version of ZZ Top, I still absolutely love. So this is Eliminator and Recycler, those types of albums. But yeah, Tres Hombres is a green album. So,
okay.
Oh yeah, that looks like a wall art piece with the, yeah, there it is down low there. Green album cover there. But But back to, so like 80s ZZ Top is much more heavily produced, has a much more 80s sound quality and production design to it. Still love it. Guitar is still great. A little bit of an electronic drum sound. Love them, but their early 70s stuff, which Tres Hombres fits within to, is much more bluesy, rocky, raunchy, that dirty sort of Texas feel to it, and has some massive hits on it. Like LaGrange is the huge hit, of course, but there's also Waiting for the Bus, Jesus Just Left Chicago, Master Sparks, Beer Drinkers, and Hellraisers. They're all great tunes. I would highly encourage anyone that has never checked this album out in its entirety to definitely listen to this. Yes, Beer Drinkers, Hellraisers, of course. Grab your cold one if you have it. But ZZ Top always screamed summer to me. And if I had to pick a favorite album of theirs now, it would be this one, Tres Hombres. So those are my two. Chris,
Nice.
do you have any?
I do. The one was we came up with this pretty on the fly type of thing, so I didn't really have time to really think of it. But the two that I've been, well, the one all time, well, not necessarily all time, the one that I've been listening to a lot is by a local band. It's just fun. It's the first, whenever I first found out about this band or started listening to them, this was the album that I got from them. You can't go wrong with the Clark's Still Live. It was recorded at local recording, like mini venue here in the Berg area, and it's just, you could see, if you actually watch their videos on YouTube, you could see them. Sorry folks, I am not going nuts. That fly is bugging me. But if you look them up on YouTube, you just see that they're just having fun the whole entire, whenever they're doing their set list, and they're all anything they do is catchy tunes, so you can't go wrong with them. But that's probably one of my favorite ones that I'd have to go to. That's my go-to one.
Excellent pick.
I
Local legends.
If I had, if it was an album, I'd probably be wearing it out now. So
yeah.
The other one that I've done is just kind of recently that I've been ended up finding out about, and it's more of a, well, the still live. The thing with live albums versus studio is you just get to, it's not, everything isn't pristine. They get to go off the beaten path. Sometimes they get the jam out.
Yep.
It's
excellent points. It's rawer. Sometimes it's a lot faster.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's just oh, here it is. It's just it's fun. I mean, that's nothing, no other way to say it. But the other one is the Beach Boys Live 50th anniversary tour. I ended up running, I think I ran across this on YouTube or something like that. Or maybe it was on, because I have a trial subscription for Apple Music, and found this on there, and it's just good tunes. I mean, and it's you can't say, I can't say enough with live albums in my view. It's just like you said, it goes everywhere, and if you can also tell when the band or the singer is into it, because it's having fun, just taking it in any direction, and that's what I think music is all about. You're supposed to have fun with it.
Let's add one more little note here too, if I may.
Sure.
Not only for the live albums are you getting more out of the band, and they're doing different things, but I think a critical component of a good live album is what is the audience reaction that you can hear as well. It almost pumps you up even more as you're listening to the live album, because if you got great audience reaction or feedback, it's like a perfect mixture with what the band's playing, and then you get this like 2-for-1 fireworks show almost
Mm-hmm.
that enhances the experience.
Exactly. And you don't want to go and, pull, something off of YouTube that someone recorded on their phone. You're not going to get the same experience. But there are live albums out there that they're just fun, as to coin the phrase from the Beach Boys, fun till but yeah, it's just so much it's just so much nicer, listening. I don't know. The studio recordings are good certain times, but more nowadays I kind of like tend to trend towards live stuff, and Billy Joel said to one time, he goes, yeah, but you can't get the intensity from the crowd and so forth. And I'm like, but you watch the Beach Boys on YouTube. You can see the crowd, and if you can't be there, that's the next best thing.
Yeah. Agreed. So. I do have some. Generally, I would agree with you, but there are a handful of songs that my dad and I argue about this sometimes, where it's like, I do prefer the album version over the studio version. Very few, or I'm sorry, the album version over the live version. Very few, but they hit so hard on the album and touch you in a certain way that I prefer them over the live versions. But again, I digress. That's just a very few.
Yeah.
Your point is well taken, and I totally agree with it.
Yeah, there are certain ones I would agree, but there again, I don't know, I get stuck. Sometimes I get stuck in the rut. It's like I only can listen to this, and it's, I'll go and listen to something else, and it's like, just come back.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
It's kind of like, peanut butter and jelly. It just kind of goes together,
Agreed. Now, real quick question, because I know we're running close here. The garage is probably, they're yelling at us to get out at some point, but that 50th anniversary Beach Boys was, because I have not experienced that yet, so kind of a dumb question on my part, but Brian Wilson totally involved in that?
Yeah, I believe so. I think he was producing it, and I'd have to double check. I actually went and picked up the Blu-ray at the Exchange.
Ooh.
So, and then
there's my favorite stores.
Yeah. See, there's the tip whenever it comes to finding albums. I mean, you can buy them online. You can buy the streaming stuff, but as Andrew, I can't think of his name, is on YouTube that I watched. He basically, he what's the word, not insistent, but, presents the point of, like why he's, buying CDs and collecting CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from, and albums for that matter, everything from the physical slide it out, look at the liner covers, to putting it down, into the CD player or onto the turntable and, listening to it. But also too that, they can't just suddenly pull that from a streaming service. You can't pull that out of your collection. You're always going to have it. You're going to own it, and you can do so much more. You can rip that CD to digital format, and so it's
you can turn to it whenever you want.
Exactly. So that's I went and bought. I do have some concerts on DVDs and live CDs, concerts and so forth. Those are probably my favorites, though. But these are two high points, that I want to say this month.
Definitely, that's great. And I also get all of my concert DVDs from the Exchange as well. I love watching concert DVDs in my basement. So yes.
Oh, okay. Well, there you can't go wrong there either.
Yes, and that's like the best of both worlds. You get the live and you get the visual all in one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you got a good stereo system, then even better. Even better.
Crank it up.
The um what was I gonna say? I don't know. It's getting late, so how about if you got anything left in the gas tank?
No, I think my gas tank is almost tapped out.
The let me yeah, it just sorry, whenever it gets this late, I just the brain it just you're not thinking clearly at this time of the night.
It's fair. Long day, so.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what though, it ended on a fun note. I got to talk to you, my friend.
Ah, how kind of you. I totally agree. Wholeheartedly agree with you, sir. Always great chatting with you.
Let me see if I can get to cue this up correctly here. I don't know, but let's. Oops. Well, let's. Okay. Let's just run with it. It's coming up. So, but anyways, I've been Mac Guy.
And I'm the Coaster Ninja. We'll catch you next time.
We'll talk to you soon. All right, now first.